Welcome grade 12 learners to question 3.4 of the 2018 examination paper. This question focuses on the rural-urban fringe, which is another important part of the question 3. It's also tested in math skills. Let's see what kinds of questions this paper has attracted. Here's our source material showing us the rural-urban fringe. Now, just to quickly assist you understand this concept, right? There we have the ocean, and this would be our urban area. So roughly that area around there is going to be our urban area. So there's the urban area. There you can see our ocean, which means that like Durban, in this question, they asked about the shape. In question number 3.1, we spoke about a semicircular shape. There's it there. We said expansion cannot take place in this direction here. Expansion cannot take place in this direction because you have the ocean. Just to digress slightly, there we have the CBD, our central business district. Right? There's our CBD, and you can see our tallest buildings are here. You can see our main roads are converging. Right? There's the main roads from different directions meeting and converging. Right? They are radiating in this area. So there's our main roads there. And we also speak about the inner city. Would have been here. There's the transitional zone. Right? The inner city being our transitional zone, zone of decay, the twilight zone, zone of mixed function. Right? The inner city is going to be there. Let's focus now on the rural-urban fringe. All right, so the rural-urban fringe is the border of the urban area. It's the area where the urban area ends and rural area starts. It's a mixture of both rural and urban functions. And yes, you are right. As the urban area expands, it's going to invade and succeed this area here. A term that Burgess used, invasion and succession. So the urban area is going to expand into parts of the rural urban area, hence the concept invasion and succession. So as time goes on, the entire rural urban fringe is now being pushed backwards. There's our industrial park. It's where the industries are located, lots of factories there, similar to here, industrial zone, right? People are living close to place of work, there's there. Now, the reason why industries are found in rural urban fringe is because you have one, plenty of land for expansion, and factories require large amounts of land. Equally important, land is cheap. Right? As you know, the land is most expensive in this area, and as you move out of the urban area, land is cheap in relation to the price of land in the CBD, and industries need large amounts of land. There's your out-of-town theme park. The theme park is an area of fun, like you'd have your Ushaka, for example. Again, it's located in the fringe area because it requires huge amounts of space to construct this and lots of space for parking. There you have the farmstead, which would be your rural function. Remember, this land use zone is a mixture of rural and urban areas, right? So it's a mixture. So this area there would be a rural urban fringe. Remember, it's a mixture of rural and urban functions. So roughly, there's your rural urban fringe. There's it there, that part there. So it's a mixture of rural and urban functions. Then you have your larger shopping centers, right? Your one-stop shopping complex. There's it here, the gateways and so on. That's the large shopping center. You require, again, cheap land, large amounts of land for construction, large amounts of land for parking space. right? So there's your one-stop parking area. Your landing strip, also located in this area. There's your landing strip where planes will land and take off from. Again, they need large amounts of space, and land here is cheaper. The location also here does not cause noise pollution or disturb much of what's happening in the urban area. Then you have planned housing development. There's your gated community. Now, these people would be your super rich income group, and they would live in this area for the peace and quiet that this area has to offer. And of course, large amounts of land to build their fashionable houses. Gated community means that they will have boom gates and security access. People just can't have access to the area. Then you have your high tech, remember, quaternary activity, the fourth part of the economic activity, and the high-tech industrial area, again, close to the ocean, and of course, export can take place, right? So you can export and import. So there's the ocean. It's going to allow the high-tech industrial area in terms of exportation and importation to take place, and it's positive to export more. So once you know the concept rural-urban fringe, we'd be able to answer any questions that's going to be asked. So we know why we're locating these functions here, because one, there's large amounts of land. Land is cheaper and it's peaceful for the gated community, for example. We require plenty of parking space for them here. Of course, there's some farming that's taking place in this area, and that now makes it a rural-urban fringe. It's a mixture of rural and urban functions, right? Let's examine the questions that are being asked here. Right, question number one, we are asked the question, what is a rural-urban fringe? Like we said, it's the border of the urban areas, and of course, where our rural areas will start from. It's a boundary between the rural and the urban areas. One mark you have there. Stage two, urban land uses. Important, it's urban land uses that you will find. There's a whole range of them: industrial park, large shopping center, landing strip, planned housing at the high-tech area there. So any two of these things. Of course, you can't use the farmstead, would be a wrong response, because as you know, it says it's two urban land use functions. And of course, you'll find there's their landing strip, shopping complex, gated community, theme park, industrial zone, planned housing, and you want any two of those many that you can see here. Question number 343, state two reasons why the rural-urban fringe is becoming more urban in nature. I mentioned earlier the issue of invasion and succession. So as the urban area is expanding, as your urban area is expanding, it's expanding into, there's it there, it's expanding that way, it's expanding there, and it's going into the rural-urban fringe. So urban expansion is taking place, or we use the word urban sprawl. Urban sprawl is a formless expansion of low-density residential areas. So as the population is increasing, you need more space, and people are now going to be building in these areas here. Of course, we mentioned the area, land here is cheaper in comparison to land in the rural, in the CBD area. So land being cheaper, and that's going to now also promote growth and development in this area. Industries will locate here. Businesses will locate here. Our super rich or high income areas, income group will now locate here, because they do have motor vehicles and they do have access to our CBD. They can travel. Of course, they love the peace and the quiet of this area. We speak of the concept of counter-urbanization. Counter-urbanization is where people are moving back to live in rural communities, rural areas, because of the aesthetics, the beauty of the area, because of the peace and quiet of the area, right? People are now migrating back to live in rural area, in this peri-urban or peri-rural kind of, or semi-rural kind of living environment where there's lots of peace and quiet. And of course, land is cheaper, and they want to now go and retire in areas like this, right? So we'll answer the question there. Our next question is question number 3.5, and let's see what the examiner is asking us. And sorry, question 3.4, and it's talking about why is the rural urban fringe an attractive location for the gated community, right? Gated community being our super rich people. And of course, the examiners went on to explain what it means. It's a secure neighborhood, security guards and controlled access, right? Why are these super rich people want to locate? And of course, we said that land is cheaper in this area. And of course, it's ideal for them to build their huge, fashionable houses. That land is cheaper, the same area there, same kind of idea being expanded. Again, here we spoke about this. The rural atmosphere offers more tranquil, more peaceful lifestyle. It's more peace and quiet. And of course, our super rich can afford to live further away from the urban area because they do have private motor vehicles and they're able to afford this high transport cost. Again, they're living away from the pollution of the urban area. There's there, got that there. And because they have their own motor vehicles, they can still travel great distances on a regular basis. Right? Some of the many answers. Of course, the last answer here, we have more flexible bylaws. And of course, that won't restrict that kind of development that they may want to have in this area. Although this factor won't apply too much these days because they do have certain restrictions in terms of what and how their houses are built, etc., etc. But of course, 4 marks, you have quite a bit to score the 4 marks in a question like that. All right, let's go on to our final question. I think it's here, and let's see what the examiner is asking us. Question number 345 says the demand for housing is growing rapidly. Now, we saw that earlier. We saw it under urbanization. In the same question paper, urbanization is the increasing percentage of people living in urban areas. More people are moving to urban areas, and that creates many challenges. And one such challenge was the issue of housing, lack of housing, and people living in informal settlements or squatter settlements, and people going on protest action to vent their anger. But it says the demand for housing is growing, and developers are looking at the rural urban fringe as a solution. They want to build in that area. It says state 2 possible objections that can be lodged. Of course, objections from people that are in that area. They're the ones that are now going to object. And I think essentially your farmers are going to have a problem because farming takes place in this area. And the moment you're now replacing the farmland with urban development, then you have now decreased the farming space. And of course, decrease in farming will mean that it's going to be food insecurity because less area is now going to be farmed. Equally important, there'll be job losses, right? Because people that now lived on the farm will no longer be able to work on the farm because the land is now used for the building of businesses, industries, golf courses, infrastructure, and the like. Environmentalists are going to be upset. Environmentalists are certainly going to be upset. Right? Those who care for the environment are going to be angry because to build the homes, you're now going to chop down trees. Deforestation will take place. That means that ecosystems are going to be adversely affected. The biodiversity is going to be reduced. Right? Plants and animals in the area will have to leave this area. There's going to be a change in the local climate. right? Temperatures will now get higher because you haven't got the vegetation to absorb the sun's rays, right? Urban sprawl, like we said earlier, will take place. There'll be an increase in land values. And of course, farmers are going to be sad about that because that means that their rates are going to go up. They will now pay higher rates to the municipality. There'll be more congestion, more crime, more pollution. So all of these factors here are going to have a negative impact on people living in this area already. Therefore, it says, suggest two possible objections to the planned housing development in this rural urban fringe. Right? People are going to object because farming land is going to be taken away. It will destroy the beauty of the environment of the area. It'll destroy the beauty of the area. Right? The environment, the natural vegetation is now going to be removed to make way for this urban concrete jungle in the area. Land values will increase. It can be positive, but negative here because you now have to pay rates on these things. And you're paying rates to the municipality. Right? So there you have uh, many factors that can be used in the examination. So once again, boys and girls, I trust that you are dissecting each of these questions, each sub-question on a regular basis. And guaranteed, as you do that, you will see parallels between the 2019 examinations and, of course, the 2017 and 16, which we're going to go through as the days unfold. Once again, thank you and happy study.